What up, y'all? Good morning, man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Y'all know what it is. This is a Jared O11 Green with a special edition of the Southern Baller Show. Had to get one in. Thanks to Coach Me and him got together and to create this topic. We just want to chop it up with y'all, man. Um, of course, I have my brothers on the panel. JB could not make it because he has personal obligations to take care of. But I still got my brothers on here. Uh, you know, y'all know who it is. Coach 67 Sports TV. What's good, bro?
Man, what's good? What's good with y'all? I'm blessed and highly favored this morning. How y'all gentlemen doing? Especially Pacific time for Big Joe. How y'all doing early on this good Saturday morning? How y'all gentlemen doing?
Oh man, all everything is well, Playboy. I ain't got no complaints. No complaints.
And that's a blessing. That's a blessing. Mr. Old Hillside today.
Yes, sir. We talking about OEL side. We got LDBC business, Big Joe Townsend in the building, and he got something he wanna push and advertise, which I'm. It's a pleasure that he's doing it on my channel. Uh, Big Joe, how you doing? And then let everybody know what you got cooking, bro.
Oh man, all is well, Playboy. It's a beautiful day out here in Cali. We don't have sunshine yet. It's on the way. It's overcasting right now. We're gonna have sunshine eventually. But yeah, no, everything is great, man. It's all good. Yeah, I made an announcement on 78 channel. But y'all knew before everybody. I'm now
Yeah.
officially associated with Old Hillside Bourbon Company. Old Hillside Bourbon Company is a black-owned bourbon whiskey company. Black CEOs, black executives, and whatnot. So something I've been working on for quite a bit, And then they approached me and asked me, did I want to be a part of the family? So we went over some stuff. It took several months for everything for documents to get signed and things to go through, and now I'm officially have ownership and stake in old old Hillside Bourbon Company. So, that I it's a great group of people. Everybody's phenomenal. I have no, it's I was a customer way before I became a part of the team. So I'm super excited. And also Old Hillside Bourbon Company is the official beverage of the LDBC Meet and Greet 2025 in Las Vegas. So I'll be out there, curating and tasting for everybody who can make it and stuff like that. So shout out to all the brothers, especially brother Jared and JB. You guys bought a bottle, so I appreciate y'all for doing that.
Yes,
Shout out
sir.
to the brothers. Shout out to the brothers who have supported and have given me feedback. On their tasting so far. So yeah, so if y'all looking for a premium bourbon, you check out Old Hillside Bourbon Company. The official beverage of the LDBC Meet and Greet 2025.
Yeah, man, y'all get y'all a bottle, man. There's the link there. Joe Townsend already put it in the channel, or excuse me, the chat. Y'all go ahead and click on it, get y'all a bottle, man. Um, Very smooth, very good product. My dad enjoyed it, so y'all gonna enjoy it too. Man. But yeah, man, let's cook on it, man. We try not to be here so long, too long, I should say. But we gonna cook on this Deion Sanders effect. We know there's a lot of former NFL players, or in the exception of Bill Belichick, um, have taken head coach roles at these colleges, man. And we got to give our HBCU love. Of course, Deion Sanders started it at Jackson State. Then Eddie George at Tennessee State. Now he's at Bowling Green. Congratulations to brother Eddie George. But what do y'all think, man? What did this mean for HBCUs, FCS, and FBS programs if they get more coaches of this ilk on the coaching staff? Let's go with you. We're gonna say the best for last. The we're gonna save Big Joe for last. He's actually the actual D1 football player on the panel. But let's go with the coach first. What you think?
In fact, look, I'm interested you know, everybody kind of already know my take, but of course I'm gonna give it. But I'm interested to hear what Big Joe gonna say. So I'm gonna throw
Mm,
to Big first. What you got on this one,
I
Big Joe?
agree. I agree. What you got, Big Joe?
All right, let's kick it off then. To be honest with you, I'm excited about it. I know some people have reservations about maybe these guys are just going to HBCUs and lower level schools to try to elevate their coaching career and to catapult them to the next level and stuff like that, which may be true in some instance, but these brothers have been called. Most of the brothers, especially like Eddie George and DeSean Jackson, they weren't even thinking about coaching. They were literally just living their life retired, and they've been approached and asked, hey, would you want to be a coach? They sat on it for a while, and the next thing you know, now they're out there coaching kids. So not everybody may have the ambition of a Deion Sanders who, may some have say maybe um capitalized on his time at Jackson State. But there's a lot of brothers out there who really want to coach and help kids, and as a former athlete, I would have loved to being coached by a former NFL player. I would love to go to Colorado right now, not because of Deion Sanders, but because of Warren Sapp.
Mm,
I can't imagine being coached by one of the best defensive linemen that ever lived. If Aaron Donald was coaching at Cal Berkeley, I'd probably want to go to Cal Berkeley to be with Aaron Donald.
mm,
If Reggie White was coaching at, let's say, at Buffalo, I would want to go to Buffalo to be coached by Reggie White. So now these players have the opportunity to be coached by their favorite athlete. A lot of players, wide receivers and DBs are going mess with DeSean Jackson because they remember him when they were younger. They seen him on TV do his thing, so they have actual playing experience, actual locker room experience. They know exactly what it takes to get to the next level. And every kid want to know, what is it gonna take? Do I have it? And whatnot. So a lot of these coaches, they never played before. A lot of these coaches never put on a helmet past high school. A lot of them don't know what it's like to be a dog days in summer, in camp. Don't know what it's like to go up against a Jonathan Ogden or to go up against a Asante Samuels on a weekly basis, to go up against a Ray Lewis. A lot of them don't know what that's like. So now you get the firsthand experience from your actual coach on a daily basis, who can show you film, who can show you technique, who can show you how to read, who can show you the ins and outs of not only being a man, but now being a pro. So you got kids now who are pro ready coming out of college, not only on the field, but off the field, because they're being taught by somebody who's been there. I love it. I wish I was coming out now and I can go to Colorado and play with Warren Sapp. You know what I mean? So, like, perfect example. At my high school, the year that I left, like, I graduated 05. In 06, Dana Stubblefield became the D-line coach at my school. I was so hot. I was so upset. So, I'm like, come on, man. But again, my brother played in the league, so I got that good tutelage from him too. But again, everybody don't have nobody in their family who been to the NFL, so I had some firsthand knowledge. But I think it's great, because again, you have a lot of these coaches, who again they will kind of tell you the truth, but kind of won't. But as a former player, you're gonna shoot to them straight. Like you have guys like DeSean Jackson. He's actually putting on cleats and showing players how to run the routes. Warren Sapp is putting on cleats, showing them how to do ladder drills and showing them how to do a get off. You know what I mean? So, and also they're still at a young age to where you can do that. You don't have your D-line coach who's 55, 60 years old and he barely making it, and he's sneaking and drinking alcohol on the side. I experienced that too. You know what I mean? So you have players who are still in good shape and who can show you how to do it on tape and on the field. So I love it. You know what I mean? I can imagine having Ocho Cinco as your wide receiver coach, or having Julio Jones as your wide receiver coach, or imagine Ray Lewis as your linebacker coach. Hell, even what's my man name? Oh my God, I'm not blanking on his name right now. Like a Teddy Bruschi or somebody like that. There's so many players out there who have knowledge who are willing to pass it down. So I'm glad that the HBCUs and even these lower level D1 schools are looking at bringing in these players, because now in this landscape of D1 or D2 or HBCU football, it's all about relating to the players. So now you have these former athletes who can relate to the players because they not only lived it, but they got paid to do it. So I like it a lot. You know what I mean? And a lot of these schools and institutions, they're benefiting off the cachet of these former stars coming to these institutions and coaching and stuff like that. So everybody's winning in this situation. And then most importantly, who's getting the most benefit from this is the kids. So I like it, and I hope this streak continues. So
I agree, man. I'm hyped that these kids are experiencing this like they dealing with top grade talent, the best that ever was in their positions. That a lot of times, like Deion Sanders or Michael Vick or DeSean Jackson, uh, is coaching them, man. That's mind blowing. Um, Big Joe, do you know that my defensive coordinator in high school was third string when he played?
third string in high school or in college?
He was third string in high school. He
Oh
didn't go to college,
man. Oh man.
and he was our defensive coordinator.
Oh man. Well, I
That's
know.
why I'm glad, man. Go ahead.
I will say that you have people who have been around the game their whole life, and that's dope. They know the X and O's of football. They've been
Yeah, that's
around
great.
it. They see it. You know what I mean? So they can, so they can pick talent. So all that is great. But it's another thing when you have somebody who's actually played, who actually has the feeling, who can tell you what it's like to fill a double team and how to slip it, who can tell you that, look, if his knuckles are white, he's about to run. If his knuckles are not white, it's about to be a pass. Some things you only can see on the field, or the smell of a locker room, the camaraderie. You can't get that from somebody who's just been around the game and coached it. What it's like to have conflict in the locker room, and how do you resolve it? But most of the times on all levels, the players resolve the issues in the locker room, not the coaches. So you getting that firsthand from from these former players, that's priceless. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jared. So yeah.
No. I mean, what you're saying is facts, man. Man, a lot of these, what I've been through anyway. A lot of these coaches wasn't even good ball players in high school, let alone don't even go to college. So, because the good old boy network, or it's not what you know, it's who you know. In situations like that, they get these jobs, and they were a lot of times coaching these kids, and that's why a lot of these high school programs, wherever state you're in, are not successful, except for the powerhouses that everybody want to go to. And that
Hey,
goes for the
hey,
same thing for college ball.
my junior college D-line coach, rest in peace, because he's not here right now. Rest in peace. He was a good dude, but sometimes he wasn't even there. So sometimes we had to run our own D-line drills. Or even if he was there, we only did 3 drills. We did the bag drills where you go over. We do a little chop block drill. We'll hit the stand-up bags, working on your moves. And that was it. That's all we did. So even when he was there, that's all that we did. You dig what I'm saying? So
Yeah, man. Yeah, but I didn't mean to go on a tangent, but yeah, I say all that to say this, man. I'm glad these kids are experiencing The pros, man, the pros up close and personal and getting picking their mind. If they not, then they crazy. Before I go to you, Coach, want to shout out people in the chat, man. Hendo, the Roll Pie. Good morning, man. Appreciate you, brother, for stopping by. Dope channel, Baltimore Raven brother. Growing Soul, another dope channel. Uh, Survival channel. The grow. This brother can grow anything. Please give this brother some support, man. His type of information is much needed. Salute, Growing with Soul. He said, salute, good brothers. Salute, man. Uh, brother D Man Jr. and Mr. Shelton. LDBC or nothing reloaded. Appreciate y'all, man. Really do. Relaxing with calm rain. Relaxing calm rain. He says salute Jared Coast 67 panel in chat. And motivation to be a millionaire. Good morning, Jared Coach panel in chat. Appreciate you, man. But Coach, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, NFL players coaching college football is not a new phenomenon because I don't know if you know it or not. P. Richardson played in the NFL for the Buffalo Bills for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So NFL players coaching college football is not a new phenomenon. However, prior to Deion Sanders, because I mean, even if you look at like even coaches that coach in the NFL, you know, you might have like John Robinson who coached for the Rams, who came back to USC or whatever, and vice versa. You know, you got people like Pete Carroll, Charlie Weiss after the Patriots won the Super Bowl, he went to Notre Dame. So NFL coaches coming on to the college level, or even NFL players coaching college, is not a new phenomenon. Prior to Deion Sanders, you never had a Hall of Fame caliber, a superstar caliber player, you know, coaching on a college level. And once he came to Jackson State, like, of course, you've seen everybody that's done it since. Of course, you know, you got Eddie George, was at Tennessee State. Of course, now you're at Bowling Green. Deion, he was at Jackson State. Now he at Colorado. DeSean Jackson is at Delaware State. Mike Vick is at Norfolk State. Terrell Buckley at Mississippi Valley. Chris Dishman at Texas Southern. Hugh Jackson was hired and fired at Grambling. Now you got Bill Belichick at the University of North Carolina. So I think it's become something that's more prevalent. With Deion coming to Jackson State, it kind of opened the floodgates. I think it's good from the standpoint of if you're a struggling program and you have the financial resources to bring in someone of that caliber and they're willing to do it, I think you can elevate your program. However, first and foremost, you have to pick the right coach. I said this at the time when you and myself and Jay Good was talking about this on the Southern Baller Show. Like, Deion Sanders is kind of anomaly from the standpoint of, first, he a Hall of Fame caliber player and he was a superstar, but he's extremely charismatic and he's personable. Even though I didn't like the whole fiasco with Ryan Garcia, but even with that being said, from a charisma standpoint, he's an anomaly. From a personality standpoint, like, he's a one-on-one type of guy. So, you know, I think Eddie George's stint at Tennessee State, you know, I think it was somewhat successful. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with, huh?
Yeah, I agree. It was.
Yeah.
Very competitive. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what DeSean Jackson does at Delaware State, what Michael Vick does at Norfolk State. When it comes to Terrell Buckley, you know, he was an NFL player. He don't have the same type of cachet, star power.
Hold on. I will say this. I want to interject this. And you know how I feel about them firing Kendrick Wade.
Yeah.
Mississippi Valley. But in my opinion, this was their best attempt they could do as far as to try to mirror like the Eddie Georges or the Deions, and I think they did good because Terrell Buckley is he's in the Mississippi High School Hall of Fame, and he's in the College Football Hall of Fame, and he had a good career in the NFL, first round draft pick. Um, so that was they did good. Now
No.
I will
Now, see,
say I'm gonna interject this. I'm gonna let you take it, Coach. I'm sorry.
uh,
I will say this: out of all the coaches, he has the most. He has the hardest hill to climb.
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Of course, I kicked around the idea of, since Jerry Rice is a product of Valley, hey, would he come back and come through and help in this, that, and the third? And basically, Big Joe was like, like Jerry Rice is kind of Hollywood at this juncture. So maybe in his mind, that will be beneath him. I'm not saying Terrell Buckley wasn't a great high school legend and he wasn't a Hall of Fame caliber player on the college level, but I'm talking about in terms of profile and cachet and being a superstar. He's not quite on a level of Deion Sanders, Eddie George, DeSean Jackson, and Mike Vick. You know what I'm saying? So he might have been the best that they were able to do, but I'm talking about when you compare them to the other big name superstars, you know what I'm saying? That's what I was saying. And even if you look at the Hugh Jackson experiment, like Jay Good say all the time, had they been able to bring Art Browse in as his offensive coordinator at Grambling, I'm not gonna lie, that probably would have changed the game. And Hugh Jackson experiment might have worked well, and it might have been a gateway to a Power 5 PWI job for him. However, they didn't want Art Browse because of all of the baggage and the negative pub that he had when he was at Baylor. And even though he did a great job in Texas high school, and he's a Texas high school coaching legend, and he did great things at Baylor, he might not have been aware of everything that was going on at Baylor when he was the head coach. But you're the face of the program. And when you have all of these things going on, even if you was unaware of them, it still looks like you lack institutional control. And your players out here just running amok and running rampant and being lawless and reckless and doing crazy stuff. The same thing with Coach O at LSU. Now, the difference at LSU is when you were winning and you win a national championship, they're willing to turn a blind eye to the nonsense. But when you go from winning the national championship to being a 500 team, they're not willing to overlook all the nonsense with Darius Geis and all these other players that getting stuff swept under the rug. You the face of the program, so they're not willing to turn that blind eye. So that's the reason why Art Browse wasn't able to be Hugh Jackson's OC at Grambling. But even with that being said, even Chris Dishman, initially somebody must have promised Fred McNair the head coaching job at Texas Southern, and he was trying to leverage Texas Southern and Prairie View against each other. But evidently, for Texas Southern's board to be approved, you need to have 100% of the vote. And I think he had a split vote, maybe like 3-3 or whatever the case may be. Half of the panel wanted Fred McNair because he had already won 2 SWAC championships at Alcorn. The other half wanted Andre Johnson. From a superstar cachet, he's kind of on that same level of Michael Vick and DeSean Jackson. However, Chris Dishman was the best of both worlds. He played for the Houston Oilers. He was a Pro Bowler back in the day. And in addition to that, he had coaching experience. So that's the reason why Texas Southern ended up going with Chris Dishman. But at the end of the day, when it comes to this thing in terms of the phenomenon of, the Mike Vicks, the DeSean Jackson, the Deion Sanders, the Eddie George, I think it's a case-by-case basis. But like Dawson Nobles, who's the former head coach of Southern, he said, if you bring in this high-profile former athlete, you have to have a contingency plan in place. First and foremost, you have to be able to capitalize if he's successful and he goes to a PWI Power 5. You have to kind of do what Jackson State did. They had the NIL situation set up in terms of the 1400 collective. And in addition to that, T.C. Taylor played for Jackson State, so he knows Jackson well. and they had a contingency plan for once he left and went to Colorado. They had everything they needed.
He was
in
a
place.
perfect replacement, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the perfect replacement. So it changed Jackson's fortune because let's keep it real. You know, in the late 90s, Southern and Jackson State were the two it teams in black college football and two it teams in the SWAC. But Jackson State was down big time before Deion's arrival, and they were able to get back to where they used to be and fully capitalize on it. So if you're gonna bring in a Mike Vick or DeSean Jackson, you better have everything in place for if they do well and they succeed and they take a PWI Power 5 job, you got to have everything in place. So it's a case by case basis. Now you even had rumors of course, Ed Reed was supposed to go to Bethune. They had a verbal agreement, but nothing was signed, and he got to spouting off and running his mouth and trashing the institution. One thing you have to realize if you come into a HBC, you have to realize Bethune-Cookman don't have the same resources at their disposal as the University of Miami. And if you're gonna work for an institution, you can't bash the institution publicly on a public platform in a public eye. You know what I'm saying? So you trying to get Coach Prime or Deion to co-sign this, co-sign that. Man, you can't bash a company you're working for. I don't care if it's a football program or if it's a Fortune 500 company, whatever. You can't bash them and work for them simultaneously. So he was talking out the side of his neck. He played that situation wrong. But it's a case-by-case basis. You know, you had some teams were flirting with Ray Lewis. Southern was supposed to bring in Kevin Sumlin, but it didn't work out. There were rumors.
Wasn't there rumors that Southern was interested in Marshall Faulk?
Marshall Faulk, yeah. I mean, I hadn't been able to confirm that, so nobody has publicly confirmed or denied it. You know, they just kind of letting it play in the wind. But you had a lot of names out there associated with certain jobs. So at the end of the day, Deion Sanders coming to Jackson State, it kind of started this trend. But in terms of evaluation, you know, it's a case-by-case basis because even if you look at after the Patriots won a Super Bowl, Charlie Weiss went to Notre Dame, and that ended up being a miserable failure. So sometimes having the high-profile coach, it pays dividends like it did for Jackson State. Other instances when it comes to Grambling, the Hugh Jackson experiment failed miserably. So it's a case-by-case basis. But as a school, if you're going to bring in that guy, you got to have all the systems in place to allow him to be successful, and then once he leaves, to continue the success after his departure.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you not against this. The pushback is not necessarily against what you said about Hugh Jackson. It was a failure, but I'm gonna give a pushback against Grambling because Grambling, in my opinion, did not give Hugh Jackson enough time. Once Broderick Fobbs left that program, and Devontae Kincaid and all his recruits that he recruited to create the 2016, 2017 championship teams, or the 2016 Grambling with the championship team, but the 2017 came close, losing to North Carolina Central. But what I'm saying is, after Coach Fobbs left, Grambling went down.
Well,
they were like middle of the pack.
You and I talked about this last night. The issue that Hugh Jackson had is the same issue that Mickey Joseph is having. When you got somebody like Doug Williams, who's a legend at that program or whatever, and he had 2 stints as head coach. His first stint, I felt like he did well and he succeeded. His second stint, he failed miserably from the standpoint of where he had some of the same institutional lack of control issue. From what I understand, when it came to Doug Williams, it wasn't like an Art Brown situation where it was the players running them up. From what I understand, they didn't like put him on blast publicly, but he had some misconduct behind the scenes himself. So that's part of the reason why like the team committed mutiny and it ended up being a whole fiasco, and they ended up transitioning Broderick Fobb. The issue I think Coach Hugh Jackson had, and the same issue is that Mickey Joseph having right now, when you got somebody like Doug Williams and certain boosters and stuff trying to be behind the scenes. If I'm a chef and I'm a gourmet chef and I'm doing my thing, in fact, I'm gonna throw it to Big Joe. Big Joe doing his thing, he's a gourmet chef and he's an excellent cook. And I'm trying to constantly be over his shoulder and say, hey, Joe, you need to add some this, add some of that, that. And I'm not letting him cook his meal and do his thing. He's not going to be as successful as he could because I'm constantly undermining his authority. I'm constantly contradicting him. So I think that's the issue. You know, I told you when I went with Doc Holliday on HBC Overdrive and we had the preview of the SWAC championship game between Southern and Jackson State.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he brought up that point. So I think the issue is you got a lot of these boosters at Grambling that's trying to tell Mickey Joseph and that told Hugh Jackson to do this and do that. From what I understand, like after the fact, like Hugh Jackson didn't have the full reign to kind of do everything he wanted to do, everything he needed to do. And plus, it didn't help the fact that they lost to Southern back-to-back years in the Bayou Classic. You know what I'm saying? And the second one, you know, they got down to the 1 yard line. They couldn't
G-Man faithful ain't gonna like that.
Yeah, I mean, they're not gonna like that. You can't lose a rivalry game. You know, that's like me getting a job at Michigan and we lose to Ohio State back-to-back years. It's not gonna fly well with the fan base. So there's a lot of issues at Grambling. I think it was beyond Hugh Jackson, and at this point it's beyond Mickey Joseph. Because you got to realize Mickey Joseph, he'd have been all over the SWAC. He was at Nickel State. He's from the city in New Orleans. He'd have been he was a star player in Nebraska. So another one. He'd have been all around the college landscape in terms of PWI Power Fives. He'd have been the FCS, FBS schools. He'd have been SWAC schools. You know, he's synonymous with being a great recruiter. But I think the fact that you got, you know, Grambling faithful and boosters and people like Doug Williams undermining his authority and, you know, constantly undercutting him, that's the reason why he's not able to be as successful as he could possibly be. So I think when it comes to the celebrity superstar head coach and the Deion Sanders effect, I think you have to kind of evaluate it on a case-by-case basis. I think Jackson State did well with it. Grambling experiment failed. You know, who knows where Southern would be if they'd have hired Kevin Sumlin or even Marshall Falk. I don't think every guy can pull it off. I think maybe somebody like a Ray Lewis, if he was interested in coaching, might pull it off. But all of these coaches, they don't have that same type of cachet, that same type of visibility. They're not as recognizable. You know what I'm saying? Certain coaches are superstars, like I say, Deion Sanders, and I don't know, he has the charisma, he has the personality to go with it. Whereas somebody like a Hugh Jackson, you know, he wasn't a player, he was a coach, but still in all, he's not as visible and recognizable. He can't just go down home and say, hey, you know, I know I won a Super Bowl as a coach and this, that, and the third, whatever. But I don't think he was able to move the needle the way Deion Sanders did at Jackson State. So it's a case-by-case basis, you know.
Okay.
I got a question. Yes, sir. I got a question.
Go ahead.
Brother Coach, I know you brought up Bethune-Cookman, and I agree with you on to a certain extent. Do you think that Ed Reed would have lashed out or been unprofessional if the campus was clean and his office didn't have trash in it? Or do you think he still would have complained?
No, I mean, you know, of course, I don't know if you was tuning in then. There was we had a special episode on Ed Reed. Myself.
I was here. All
right. Well, I think you're right from the standpoint of maybe he was trying to address it behind the scenes and he felt like it wasn't being addressed to his liking from a personal standpoint. But like Jay Good pointed out, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I'm gonna give you an example, right? I was supposed to start a YouTube channel strictly from a teacher / coach's standpoint, and a lot of issues you will go through as a teacher and as a coach. And because there's this channel called Teacher Therapy, you know, she has like almost 85,000 subscribers on her channel. You know, it's doing well, this type of thing. So I was gonna do something similar to that, but from my perspective. However, every school district I've been in, there's a handbook and it tells you a list of do's and don'ts. The last 3 school districts I've been in the school district that I'm engaging with now, and their handbook explicitly states that you cannot do anything that not even like bashes our school district, our school, but the education of profession, the professional education in general. So even if I wasn't talking about a specific school or a specific school district, I can't even bash like education collectively as a whole. So the point I'm trying to make is I understood his frustration at the time, and I'm not saying he was wrong with the issues he was having with Bethune, but I think he could have, even if he tried to handle it behind the scenes and he felt like it wasn't being taken care of, it wasn't being addressed, I don't think he went about it in the right way. You hadn't signed a contract, it was just a verbal agreement, and you went on multiple public platforms bashing the institution. So at the end of the day, bro, I think you're right, Big Joe, but the way Ed Reed went about it not only did it cost him that job, but other HBCUs were interested in him, like Grambling, like Texas Southern. They all had interest in him, but the fact that he bashed Bethune the way he did, it pretty much ruined his opportunity to get other head coaching jobs in the HBCU realm. And even I don't know how true it is, but one FCS school was interested in him after the fact. But the way he went about that Bethune situation, it just kind of ruined his chances at those two jobs that other teams had interest in him.
I hear what you're saying. I know with any job or anything that you do, you have a code of conduct, and you have a confidentiality agreement, you have all that kind of stuff. But I do know as well. Do you think Bethune-Cookman, how the way they had their campus looking, how his office was looking, do you think anybody of high caliber will want to coach at Bethune-Cookman? Has Bethune-Cookman been better since Ed Reed didn't go there? Has the trash been cleaned up? The next coach that came in, was his office clean? So I mean, yeah, Ed Reed may have lost on opportunities, but Bethune-Cookman has lost on opportunities too because their presentation wasn't up to par. It don't matter if the facilities look a certain kind of way. It does not hard for you to clean up your coach's office. You have a high caliber coach. You recruited this guy to come in here. That takes effort. That takes money. You had an agreement. It's not hard for you to get somebody to clean up the campus, to make it look good. Hell, if you're even recruiting players, you want your campus to be clean. You want recruiting a coach, you want the facilities to look okay. It don't take money to dust and mop. It don't take money to put stuff in the trash. It don't take money to take some Clorox and wipe the dust down. So I hear what people are saying about what Ed Reed messed up, but nobody says Bethune-Cookman has messed up because nobody's talking about coaching at Bethune-Cookman no more. Nobody.
Oh no.
The last time, so I hear what you're saying that, oh well, he shouldn't have said anything, but sometimes you don't say nothing, you're not gonna get no answers. Like I don't know if it was Jared, which HBCU was that when the kids protest because there was mold in the ducts and in the dorms? What school was that?
That was Grambling.
So at Grambling, those kids, they signed a confidentiality agreement. They students, they shouldn't talk about the university, but they have mold in their office, in their dorm. Nothing was done about it. They protest. Now the mold is clean. I guarantee you what, Bethune-Cookman's campus ain't dirty no more.
I'm not gonna lie, Big Joe. I'm not disagreeing with nothing you said. And truthfully speaking, the reason why he was saying Coach Prime was right.
Howard had a situation like that too.
Yeah, because at Jackson State, a lot of the same issues that Ed Reed had at Bethune, Deion had at Jackson State also. So I'm not disagreeing with you. And I think to a certain degree, I think the issue I had was some of the same issues that Deion had at Jackson State, Ed Reed had at Bethune. Some of these HBCUs have these issues, and I understand that, but I think it kind of gets more emphasized and more brought to light when it happens at a HBCU as opposed to when it happens to a PW. I'm gonna give you an example. I'm comparing apples to oranges, so it's not gonna be the same, but I'm just kind of using this as an example. When Southern had an incident years ago, like my freshman year at Southern's band and Prairie View band had a fight, right? I kid you not, bro, like 10, 15 years down the line, our local news channels, WEFB and WBRZ, they still would play that incident that happened and transpired when in 98 when those two teams met each other, the two bands fought. However, then I had instances where LSU got in a fight with the University of Florida and Tennessee University, and it would pass through a news cycle, and then that was kind of it. So I'm not saying Ed Reed was wrong or Deion was wrong in terms of some of the stuff with Jackson State, but in terms of the Deion Sanders thing, some of the narratives he was trying to spin after he left, like weren't truthful 100%. And in addition to that, when it comes to the Ed Reed component of it, I'm not saying he wasn't right. I'm just saying his approach could have been better. That's all I was saying.
I got you, coach. And all I'm saying is Bethune-Cookman's presentation preparation could have been better. Because no matter what, even if it's Ed Reed, you're always going to have students touring the campus, students who just want to go there to be at Bethune-Cookman. So you want to at least have proper presentation, or at least have your campus looking decent. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah,
not,
I'm in agreement.
you know what I mean? So again, for example, when I was coming out of high school, I took a recruiting trip to San Jose State. Their locker room didn't even compare to my locker room at the private school that I went to. Wasn't even close. My private school locker room looked way better than San Jose State. But guess what? The locker room was clean. The weight room was mopped. Everything looked good for me to walk through and see what the facilities look like. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? So I think if everything would have looked decent, now I know Ed Reed is like, oh man, some players have said, oh man, this not like Miami. It's definitely different. The resources ain't there. I know I've heard him say that before. I know some brothers have bashed him for that. But again, presentation. Nobody want to show up to a job where their desk is dirty. Nobody want to show up and do any work if they're not, you don't want to work nowhere where they're not ready for you to work. That's like you showing up to your job and they don't even give you a uniform. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying. There's both sides are at fault in this. Bethune-Cookman is at fault for not being ready to give the keys to Ed Reed, and Ed Reed is wrong for how he handled the situation. But either way, Bethune-Cookman is Ed Reed. Another Ed Reed to Cowboy player is not coaching at Bethune-Cookman, and Ed Reed is not coaching nowhere else. So nobody wanted that situation.
Yeah,
but hopefully both learned, and hopefully Bethune-Cookman's campus is now clean, and hopefully the coach's office is clean for whoever wants to coach there down the road.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think in that particular instance, two wrongs don't make a right. And I think in this particular scenario, basically we're talking about optics. So from a Bethune-Cookman standpoint, the optics of this particular scenario, it looks bad from the standpoint of your facilities weren't kept. But from an Ed Reed perspective, you're going to be the head of this team, this organization. You represent the university, and the way you publicly bashing them. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. There was some of the things he was talking about. I wasn't disagreeing with what he was saying. However, I disagree with his approach and the way he went about it. Because guess what? As many issues as some of these coaches have at these HBCUs. Like I'm gonna use P. Richardson for example. Like he talked about the facilities at Southern University for a long time. I'm talking about back in 93, 94, 95. He was like, it's not up to par for HBCU standards. I'm winning national championships, but our facilities aren't where it should be. And guess what? Like by the time 2020 rolled around, a lot of things he was pushing for in 93, it came to fruition because he kept getting after Southern University in terms of we need to upgrade our facilities and this, that, and the third. And as a result, everything he pushed for back then, it all came to fruition. So I'm not saying Ed Reed was wrong, but I'm saying Pete Richardson had the same issues that Ed Reed had, but the way Pete Richardson went about it, he was more diplomatic and his approach was better. And as a result, he got better results. And he presented himself with class in terms of being the face of Southern University's football program, whereas Ed Reed, in his situation, I think the thing that it kind of hurt him from the standpoint of course, Ed Reed, he high profile, he has a lot of cachet, but a lot of institutions say, do we really want this guy to be, the face of our football program, the way he conducted himself? And that's what I was saying from an optics standpoint. You know, it made it look like he wasn't fit to be a leader of young men. That's all I was saying.
I don't know about ready to be a leader of young men, but I know that
I'm talking
Bethune Cookman.
about Big Joe.
I hear you, but I know that Bethune Cookman is not ready to have a real coach either. So,
Well, I mean, hey,
so
they hadn't been able to win the SWAC, but I mean, they done brought in a lot of, players from PWIs, mid-major type schools like FAU, FIU, Florida State, the University of Florida. They brought those players into their program. They hadn't been able to turn it around and win the SWAC, but considering how bad that whole fiasco looked, they came out better on the other side of it than I thought they would, to be truthful.
okay. My bad, Jared. Go ahead, brother. I know you're trying to be here long. My brother.
No, you good, man.
No,
And,
it's a great conversation, Big Joe. I mean, you made some valid points. You know what I'm saying?
Already.
yeah. And like Grown Soul said, real talk is going to be a lot harder to sell a dirty used car versus one that's been waxed clean and freshly changed. Yeah, man. I definitely agree, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm done with it. I definitely agree that Ed Reed could have went about things differently, but come on, man. It's like me if I invite y'all to my home and I got dog doo doo in the middle of the floor, and I don't bother to clean the shit up. And I just, well, it's just doo doo, baby. Y'all just go ahead and y'all sit down
It's
and
just duty, baby.
it's just doo doo, baby. And y'all just think you filthy mother. You know what I mean? So,
But
come
one
on,
thing I
come on,
will
Bethune
say,
Cookman.
when Ed Reed voiced his frustration, you know how many folks were willing to volunteer to go help clean up Bethune Cookman? You know how many folks was willing to donate to help out Bethune Cookman because he voiced his frustrations? So I mean, again, there's power in social media too. So a lot of folks say, hey man, what is this? Hey, you know what? Let's organize the cleanup crew. We're gonna make sure you starting off good. We got people who don't even go to university willing to help. So that's my frustration. You got strangers who have no association with Bethune Cookman who is ready to ride and help clean up the campus for Ed Reed, but the university that wanted him there couldn't do that. That's my problem.
Yeah, like I said, you're right, but I think in this particular scenario, two wrongs don't make a right. So, it probably
tell that to the mother folks, man. Tell that to the mother folks, man. You know who the president is? Come on, dog. Come on now.
No, you're right. I'm not in I'm not disagreeing with what you said.
But I know the old rule. But I know the old rule is you don't say nothing. You see something, you just be quiet. Because it's harder on us and everything. I got you. But there's also a certain standard we got to upkeep too. And sometimes you got to shame somebody. Sometimes bring back shame.
Right, and Coach, I admire you always holding up that battle stained banner for the HBCUs, and I respect that, and I'm the same way to a certain extent. But Bethune Cookman could have had a better showing on their end, and vetted, and of course could have vetted the type of person they were bringing in as Ed Reed. So that's like. Y'all had that family member, that aunt and that uncle that was very high end or very bougie, and your parents and your mama make sure the house is clean and everything, because they want to have a good presentation. Same thing here. So Ed Reed took it as an insult. Come on, man, you got trash. I understand that the Bethune Cookman was basically built on a landfill because that's what they did back in the day. Built black facilities or in places where they don't care for, but just try to make it presentable. Try to make a best impression. First impression.
Well, in terms of conclusion, this particular topic, I think two things could be true at the same time. I think you and Big Joe right from the standpoint of, Bethune facilities weren't where it should have been, and they dropped the ball on their end. However, I think Ed Reed could have did a better job in voicing his frustration. So two things could be true at the same time, and I think that's definitely the case in this instance. Big Joe right on one side, I'm right on the other side. So I think we both right, and I think when at the bottom line of it is two wrongs don't make a right, and I don't think he handled the situation the way he should have. I
I
think
hear you,
if he'd have
but
took the Pete Richardson approach, I think
certain
if he would have
things
an
happen
approach,
for a reason.
I think it would have worked out.
I hear you, but certain things happen for a reason. So, have anybody ever thought of if Ed Reed would have never said anything, would ever been addressed?
Well, I mean that's true too, but I mean, again, I would have went about it differently.
I hear
I
you.
got you, coach. My dog, I got you, coach. But I will say this: Bill Cookman finished 2-10 last year. Go ahead, Jared.
But see, that's the thing about it though. They were competitive 2-10 because I mean
Two
Southern
and
had
10. 2-10. Ed Reed ain't there. They 2-10.
well, hey, I think they were more competitive than people think. Because guess what? They gave Southern hell last year.
That's cool. That's cool. This ain't Pee Wee. Nobody gets consolation prizes here. Coaches get hired and get fired whether you win. But this ain't. Hey, 2-10 is 2-10. Whether you lost by 1 point or 35, 2-10.
I got you, Big Joe.
Compare. Man, there ain't no ribbons. Come on now, we don't do that no more. Giving out ribbons and stuff. Hey man, we tried hard though. Here's some ribbons now.
Hey, you're right. I don't believe in participation trophies, but like, salute to my brother Cadillac Red when we did Supreme Beats after hours. He asked like, is there such thing as a good loss and a bad win? And when I first started coaching, hey, I was such a competitive guy. Hey, I didn't believe in good losses or bad wins. But once you've been through the grind on the middle school level, it's like you realize, like, hey, there were some instances I'd rather have a good loss instead of a bad win. So, I mean, maybe the last season might propel them to a better season this year. Who knows?
We talking about it. We'll see.
All I know is my first year at Louisville, we sucked. My coach got fired, and in come Charlie Strong. So the last time I checked, Florida State was 2-10 last year. Is anybody giving them any handouts or good jobs or whatnot? Or is everybody thinking about firing the head coach?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
that's the
Derek.
game. That's the game. But no, it's a good conversation, man. I'm a wrap everything up with this question. So out of these coaches, out of these Bill Belichick and Michael Vick and DeSean Jackson, we already know where Deion the good job the growth Deion has done, but and the Terrell Buckleys, out of all these coaches, who has the highest hill to climb?
Mm.
You want to go first, Big Joe? Or you want me to go first?
Go ahead, coach.
I mean, it's easy. It's Terrell Buckley. I know you didn't like the way they fired Kendrick Wade, but truthfully speaking, Valley's facilities are improving. But man, Valley done been a doormat and a swag so long. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think Valley done been a real good team in the swag since Jerry Rice done left. Hell, that's been like with the early 80s. I mean, bro, I'm not gonna lie. Easy, we talk about how bad Prairie View was when they lost 66, 67 games straight. But like Jay Good pointed out, like at least Prairie View is a part of Texas A&M, like, family tree in terms of schools. Whereas Valley done been a doormat in the SWAC for so long. Now, of the last few years, I thought they would go winless, but they always find a way to pull out that one win. Last year was FAMU. The year before, I can't think of who it was. I mean, they always pull out that one win. It done helped Southern out a couple of them times. That's why I rock with Valley heavy, But at the end of the day, he gonna have a tall mountain to climb. I mean, even if he had the financial resources he needed, even if he had better facilities, which they're improving the facilities, he had the financial resources he needed. He was able to get some NIL money. he really has to change the culture, because then I had a losing culture at the institution for so long. It's like, man, like really valid the team you scheduled for homecoming, because guess what? It's gonna be an easy dub. I think he needs to change that around. He got a tall mountain to climb. So I think it's gonna be difficult for him. Whereas I think in terms of, even if you look at DeSean Jackson, this his first season, he done brought in like so many 4-star recruits from Power 5 PWIs. I think he gonna be able to change, move Delaware State in the right direction right away. I think the same thing for Michael Vick. I think in terms of Bill Belichick, I'd rather have the superstar player than the superstar coach. I don't know if it's gonna be as easy as as it was for him once he really got Brady and turned things around for the New England Patriots. So at the end of the day, I think Terrell Buckley has the steepest hill to climb, in my personal opinion.
Okay, and then who has the jobs ain't easy, but who's in a better situation, Coach?
I think on paper, I think DeSean Jackson, because even though they all play wide receiver, and you need offensive lineman to block for the quarterback so they get the ball to the receiver, I think the fact that on paper his roster is kind of somewhat resembling Jackson State in terms of just being loaded from a wide receiver position. Like Big Joe said earlier, he was a high-level NFL player as a wide receiver. Evidently, these guys seeing that, and they won't go to Delaware State. So I think on paper, I think Delaware State, I think they're the lead in the clubhouse. And in terms of Belichick, I think I'm not basing it on strictly on what Hugh Jackson did at Grambling, because let's keep it a buck. And we evaluate Bill Belichick on his own in the vacuum. He did a phenomenal job as a defensive coordinator when he was with the Giants. But in terms of from an NFL standpoint, for me, he didn't move the needle with the Browns. He didn't even stick around for the Jets, and he was able to pivot and get the Patriots job. Really had it not been for Drew Bledsoe getting smashed by Mo Lewis, realistically, we don't even know if Bill Belichick could be the guy he was had Tom Brady not took over the Rams from Drew Bledsoe. So at the end of the day, I don't know if it's going to be as easy as people might think for him to turn around at UNC. I mean, we'll see, time will tell. Hopefully for UNJB, he does turn it around. But I don't know if it's going to be as easy as people think,
No, it's not, because even though the ACC is considered, a lot of people consider the ACC weak, which I disagree. I believe the Sun Belt is the weakest conference in the FB, one of the weakest conferences in the FBS.
Because just one last thing, if it would have been, if people thought it was that easy to turn around UNC, Mac Brown would have did it already,
Exactly. But it's definitely gonna be a uphill, but not, like you said, not as not as high as Terrell Buckley, but Big Joe.
All right. What was the question again, brother? I want to make sure I answer it properly for you.
No, you good. So it's a two-part question. So, who had, out of all the coaches, in your opinion, who has the highest hill to climb regarding to you dealing with the program, turn the program around, and who's in a better situation?
Well, the obvious answer for the steepest hill to climb is Buckley. He's going to have the hardest time to do that. But I'm gonna go get some grain a little bit. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say DeSean Jackson has the tallest hill to climb, and this is why. You have something called expectation. DeSean Jackson is expected to have the success of a Deion Sanders, of a Eddie George. He's expected to turn the program around just because he's going there to the university. Do we know if DeSean Jackson can coach or not? Who knows? Do we know if he assembled a solid coaching staff? Who knows? I know he's called around. He's brought some good people in, but this is going to be his first year coaching. Now, for the first time, he is coordinator to where they're gonna have an HBCU game and at Lincoln Field, where the Eagles play. The first time an HBCU game is gonna be played where the Eagles play. So he's already setting the bar high as far as elevating the program. But when it comes to elevation, becomes expectation. So now he has to capitalize on this moment, and he has to win games. There's no point of having the first game, at first HBCU game at Eagle Stadium, if you go 2-10 like Bethune Cookman. So just based off the expectations alone, it's going to be a steep hill to climb. So I would say DeSean Jackson has the hardest hill to climb. Michael Vick, he's looked at as an elder statesman. He's been around a while. He's been mentoring and whatnot. So there's eyes on him as well. But I think for me, I would say DeSean Jackson just to go against the grain. Now, who has a little easier for sure is easily Bill Belichick. Just by him going to UNC, a lot of boosters have poured money into the program. He's gotten a whole lot of top recruits to go over there to the program. He obviously knows how to recruit younger people. I mean, his girlfriend is the same age as the kid he's coaching. So he can, he can relate to the kids on that. You got him doing TikTok dances, and doing yoga on the beach, and all that kind of stuff. So he knows how to conversate with the younger generation. So he's gonna always assemble a good coaching staff. The Belichick tree, even though it's not successful as far as NFL head coaches, he still is a phenomenal coach, and a lot of men will follow him and want to coach with him. So he has the resources, he has the relatability, he has the cachet. He's gonna be fine. So he has the easiest transition and in a better spot just based off of the name that he brought to UNC.
Okay.
Jared,
Well
Jared,
said. Well said. Go ahead.
there's this clip of Snoop Dogg, and he was like, "Man, that ninja, he don't miss." I'm not gonna lie, even if I don't agree with him 100% of the time, man, Big Joe don't miss, man. God dog, Big Joe.
No, you
Appreciate it,
don't.
family. That's why I'm on the show, player.
There you go. There you go, man. But I agree, man. I have Terrell Buckley, like I said, as the highest or the tallest hill to climb. The
And the hill is
Mississippi
a
Valley
mountain for him,
been
bro.
down. Yeah, it's a mountain. But I'm gonna switch it up though. I believe Michael Vick is sitting on a gold mine. Because he's from that area. So a lot of good athletes are bred out of that area. Uh, he can recruit from the Newport News area, and then even though they rivals, he can recruit from the Hampton area, and then he has the help of you know AI, Allen Iverson, and everything. So a lot of them kids on 5 stars and 4 stars, you know, maybe they can be swayed to go to play for the green and gold Spartans.
Yeah, and he gonna have to help with a DB3.
Yeah.
No, you heard what I say, DB3, huh?
No, not them. They gonna ruin everything. No, no. They gonna swing on the kids. They don't agree on them. But anyway,
Hey, what's the dad? I ain't never had one of them. We don't need that. Keyshawn Davis. Oh man.
that was crazy, bro. But
Yeah, something wrong with that boy.
yeah. But man, yeah. Just wanted to hop on to talk about the Deion Sanders effect. Don't get it twisted. All these coaches and or excuse me, former NFL stars or Pro Bowlers, and even high profile coaches that are coaching now in the college level is because Deion Deion started it. Even though there's always been former NFL players, like Coach said, Coach 67 Sports said, Deion was the first Hall of Famer, All Star to coach, and that created a wave. So we're gonna see. we gonna see how this turns out, man. Like I've been saying, football's almost here, fellas. But we gonna wrap it up, man. Big Joe, let everybody know again where they can buy your product and um, how they can meet you and see you.
Yes, sir. Great show, fella. Great show, fella. Shout out to Coach. You my brother, dog. So I appreciate the healthy
Man,
dialogue for
much
sure.
love.
Yeah. Old Hillside Bourbon Company. Old Hillside Bourbon Company. Old Hillside Bourbon Company. The links in the chat. Um, if you go on the website, go on the locator. If you cannot find Old Hillside where you live at, we're not currently in every state. We're working on that. This company's only been around for 5, 6 years, so we're trying to get to the echelon of a Uncle Nearest. But if you can't find Old Hillside and where you live at, you can directly order online. They have fast shipping and get to you within a couple days. And also, we also sell cigars. So if you're into cigars, like me, Jay Good, and Stay Ready, order your own personal Old Hillside bourbon infused cigars. They are made to order. So you order what you want, they'll make them for you, and they'll send them to you directly as well. So Old Hillside Bourbon, the official beverage of the 2025 Las Vegas LDBC meet and greet. If anybody has any questions about the bourbon and whatnot, you can find me on all LDBC platforms. Showing love to the brothers and sisters of the mighty and whatnot. Y'all have a good weekend. And hey, football's around the corner, baby. Football's around the corner. I'll holler.
All right, all right. There y'all go. There y'all go. Please support the brother by get you some bourbon, man, for uh yeah, special occasions or you just want something around the house. Go support the brother, man. Coast 67 Sports TV. Let everybody know where they can meet you and see you.
Well, you can meet me here tomorrow at 3:30 Central Standard Time on the Southern Baller Show, you dig. We'll be back in the building tomorrow, you dig. In addition to that, later on today, I'm gonna break down some more swag talk. Probably, I don't know, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock today on my channel. You can catch me at Coach 67 Sports TV on all social media platforms. However, I am primarily here on YouTube at Coach 67 Sports TV. We had a great episode of HBCU Fanatics last night on my channel with myself, my brother Jared Lovin Green. But later on today, I'm gonna be talking about some more swag football. So y'all come over to my channel, check me out. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal day, blessed, phenomenal weekend. Peace and blessings. And shout out to the mighty LDBC. Yeah, dig. You on mute, bro.
I'm here, Jared.
Yeah. So thank you, Coach, man, and thank y'all for all who came by, man. Coach Hudson, man. Uh, Cook Brothers, man. Appreciate you, man. Uh, Big Reg, man. What's up, everybody, man? Appreciate you for coming by. The Road Pod, man. Appreciate and thank you for the tips, brother. I appreciate you, man. Grown with Soul. Uh, appreciate you, man. Who else did I miss? D-Man Jr., man. My brother, Mr. Shelton. Everyone, man. Appreciate you all, man. But y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Saturday. Y'all have a blessed one. Shout out to my LDBC. Y'all be blessed.
Peace.